Uncle Scott from the Speakeasy Bakery. Today we're going to be making no-knead sourdough bread. So the first step is to combine the dry ingredients. We're always going to measure everything out on a scale. Start off with our flour. It's a bread flour, a little bit of salt, and we're going to mix that up just a little bit, disperse the salt. And now for the wet ingredients. I use bottled water. With tap water, depending on where you are, you just never know what's going to be in there. All right, so this is Sourdough Starter. It's also basically flour and water that's been sitting around for a whole lot of time. So we've got our dry ingredients combined and our wet ingredients combined. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. You don't have to stir it very much. I mean, get all the liquid combined with the solid, but it is a no-knead recipe, so you don't want to overwork it. What you'd usually do with the kneading gets done because of the length of time that this dough is sitting around. Basically, all of the dry flour is combined into the main body. Throw a top on it. Now we're going to let this sit on the counter for 12 hours. After 12 hours, it should have approximately doubled in size. We're then going to put it in the refrigerator. It can be in the refrigerator anywhere from 12 hours to 36 hours. It's developing the flavor, it's developing the whole structure, and it's because it's in the refrigerator, the process is slowed down quite a bit. This has been sitting in the refrigerator now overnight. It doubled. It's been out of the refrigerator now for about anywhere from a half an hour to an hour. So just dump it right out on the counter. Don't be afraid to get in there. Now, this is actually a double batch, so we can make 2 loaves. At this point, you want to be careful not to add too much flour. You can just push it around with this, even if it sticks. So we're going to do what's called an envelope fold, which is a fold over one way, a fold over that, and then a fold over itself. As we're doing this, we're going to try to put a little tension in the dough surface. This helps the bread rise and give shape to the bread. Give it a few pushes underneath. That again gives a little bit of tension to the dough. I'm going to show it to you one more time. I'm going to fold it over once and again. And maybe stretch a little bit, fold it over for the final time, and then try to make a nice round bowl out of it. We're going to cover it with some plastic wrap and let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. At this point, you want to give it a little bit of flour. It'll help you when you take it into the banneton. So we take the dough knife and kind of push the edges underneath. That helps create the tension on the surface. And then this is maybe one of the few tricky parts, is what we want to do is pick the dough up and flip it upside down into the banneton and try to do it in one fluid motion. And there, and like that. And there you have it. It's in the banneton. So at this point, it's got about another 30 minutes to an hour where it's going to sit in the banneton, covered with a cloth. And when we come back, we're going to give it what we call the poke test. All right, it's been about a half an hour. The dough is rising a little bit more. We're going to give it the poke test to determine if it's proofed the right amount of time. So what we're looking for, if it's perfectly proofed, is when I poke it in, it's going to slowly rise back to where it was in the beginning. If it's underproofed, it'll rise back really quickly. If it's overproofed, it won't rise back. So we're hoping for either a quick rise back or a slow rise back. If it doesn't rise back, we start over. So here we go, poke test. All right, so that's slowly rising back. So this is really perfectly proofed. So the next step is to actually get this into a preheated Dutch oven. Be very careful. These are called oven gloves. Very handy because you get the dexterity, very well insulated. And what we're going to do is take the lid off, dump this into the Dutch oven, loosen the sides a little bit. Now this is where most people have an issue, if it doesn't quite go in the right way. But that's okay, just keep going. I always tell people just keep going, because if it comes out a little bit lumpy, or you catch it on the edge, you have what we call a rustic loaf. It'll still taste great, so just keep going. Once you've got the top back on, we want to get it back in the oven. So at this point, set a timer for about 10 minutes. After 10 or 15 minutes, take the top off. The way to check when it's done, when you first start out, is with an internal thermometer. You want it to be somewhere between 195 and 205 degrees. The total time is going to be around 40 minutes. Okay, the bread's been in the oven for about 40 minutes now. We took the top off at about 10, so it's time to see what we get. All right. Let's get that out of there. And there we have it. Nice loaf of bread. Let me get rid of that. So what you have here is a really nice hot loaf of sourdough bread. And you're really going to want to dig in, but don't. You should wait at least 2 hours before you cut into it. There's still some chemical reactions going on. If you eat it when it's fresh out of the oven, you will have some stomach issues, which you don't want. And beyond that, sourdough actually tastes better when it's not warm. The flavor comes out a lot better, so you're just going to have to wait. Sorry. Okay, it's been 2 hours. It's time to dig in. Got a beautiful no-knead sourdough bowl. All right. Nice crunch to the crust. Got some nice hole structure there. We like to see some medium-sized holes, some bigger holes, some smaller holes. This is what's known as the crumb shot. And we got a beautiful rise on this. This is going to be a really good piece of bread. So I hope you liked the video. We're going to be doing some more. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Give us the thumbs up. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. See you next time.